Welcome back to Race to Win, the sailing podcast. The whole point of Race Cues is to help you improve your performance and have more fun sailing. So today we're going to be talking about online coaching using the Race Cues GeoVid. Now, if you're not familiar with a GeoVid, you're looking at one right now. It's just footage from an action camera like a GoPro that is time synced with the 3D replay. It's an incredible tool for anyone to evaluate their own sailing, and if you can get your footage into the hands of a pro like we did, you can really learn a lot. In this podcast, we're sort of eavesdropping on a coaching session between Quantum Pacific sailmaker Will Paxton and one of his customers. Paxton kicks off the session by looking at the crew positions on the boat and talking about some ways to make the boat sail faster that people don't always think of.
Okay, I'm watching these guys sailing upwind. Everybody's sitting on the rail. It looks like now they're hiking when they heel over, but you want to try and be consistent because the balance of the boat and the balance of the helm is key with the crew hiking consistently. So there's a lot of people, what we call prairie dogging. You got to try really hard to hunker down and find your spot on the rail, so it helps everybody be more consistent. And one of the things we do on the Express to make it more comfortable is everybody has padded hiking shorts as well, so you can really get comfortable, sit on the rail. We have nice custom pads, which I see Sergey does not yet, but I know he has some on order. That really helps a lot too. You got to take care of your crew. People come to me and they're like, how much money can I spend on sails and low stretch ropes and all these other things? And first thing I want to do is to go faster upwind. The first thing I do is go look at their boat, at their lifelines. Do they have a big thick tow rail with no padding? Do they have wire with no padding? It's like the first thing you do to go faster upwind is make it more comfortable for your crew to hike on these little boats.
Will doesn't like to toot his own horn, but I'll tell you, the guy wins a lot of races. And he's not selfish about sharing his tips with the rest of his fleet. In fact, this particular customer is actually races against Will. They both own Express 27s. Looking at the stats for this race, you can see Libra, which is the boat we're looking at here, is really close to Motorcycle Irene, which is Will, but he just cannot quite get him. What can he do to help find that groove upwind?
Finding your balance upwind, the simplest way to start is to have the jib trimmed in properly and the boat sailing upwind to the telltales. And you want the boat happily sailing upwind to the telltales with the weather telltales lifting occasionally without too much input from the helm. If you need to point higher, you need to get there by pulling the main in a little bit. If you want to point a little lower, you need to ease the main a little bit. And if it's not easy to find that happy place with only an inch or two of main sheet movement, then that probably means you need more backstay. Because backstay will flatten the sails, giving a more forgiving entry, and will also twist the top of the main open, which will give you more twist and less weather helm, and therefore more of a neutral helm. If the helm is too neutral and the leeward telltale is flapping, then you need more main sheet or perhaps more traveler up to help bring the bow back up.
These lines are called the groove analysis lines, and they basically analyze your boat handling and tell you when you're in the groove and when you're out. Now, look at Paxton's lines. It's like someone just took a ruler and drew a line right across. He's in the groove the entire time. But our customer here has some gaps. So we looked at one of the gaps, and I asked Paxton, what happened here to cause this gap, and what can we do to have better boat handling and get a straight line?
Okay, so now as a coach, I'm coming up on where Sergey is having a hard part. You can see he just hits a wave right there, and that is one of a gap in the groove line where he did not sail consistently. So you can see as soon as he hit the wave, the tiller started moving around more. Also, his crew sat up on the rail, which is going to make acceleration worse. And also, he's got a fine tune on the main trim. I did not see the main go in and out in anticipation or recovery of the bad wave and the boat slowing down. So you have to identify the wave is coming. You have to hike hard. And one of the tricks on the small light keelboat is when you come to the wave, you generally want to come up the wave because you accelerate up the wave face. And so you want to trim in because the boat will accelerate and point up the wave. And as the bow exits out the top of the wave, you want to ease the main and the boat will bear away, again with very little input and drag from the rudder, and accelerate. And that is the cleanest way to do it, and it keeps the bow glued in the water and prevents what we call chopping wood, which is when the bow pounds through the chop in the wave.
Downwind, the customer was really sailing pretty well, but just kept losing overall time. Again, just a little bit slower than Paxton. So I asked him, what do you see here, coach? What can we do better?
Okay, let's see. I see too many people in the back of the boat. And again, you want it for stability, which means less trimming and less driving. You want to try and keep some weight low. So usually we have one of the bigger guys is standing in the companionway hatch, which kind of puts his weight down low because you're standing on the cooler or the floor. And they can operate the foreguy, the vang, the twings from there. I say that trimmer should be standing further forward, and the driver should be probably sitting in front of the traveler or up on the side deck straddling the traveler, because you can see the waves you're trying to surf better. Another nice technique you can use on Express or other boats is the driver can also have the weather twing in his hand as well. So if there's an opportunity to sail a little lower, you can pull on the twing because it's a bowstring angle. You can square the pull back several inches, which helps the boat bear off down a wave, and then ease the twing up a little bit, which helps the boat head up out of the wave, helps the boat accelerate, sail a deeper VMG, and again, you're always looking to steer less and have less rudder drag. So they got just some little things to do. They're sailing pretty well. Sails are sheeted pretty correctly, and they just really have some little things to tidy up in the tradecraft of how they're sailing their boat.
Online racing coaching using GeoVids has an incredible amount of potential. And lucky for you, we are looking for some people to help us test this. And at the moment, it's a great way to get some free advice about how to run your boat better. If you're interested in trying out online coaching, please contact me at julia.berg@racecues.com or find us on Facebook. To start using GeoVids, go on the homepage to the How It Works section and select GeoVids. You'll need to register as a beta user in order to get access to the instructions. Once you're registered and logged in with RaceCues, go to the How It Works section, GeoVids, and now you'll see that you have access to the GeoVids instructions. If you need any help, we're always available at support@racecues.com. See you next time. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can find more on our website, www.racecues.com/podcast.